Hey guys, welcome to today's episode of Talking Decon. I'm Laura Spalding, CEO of Spalding Decon. To my left here is Steve Miller, our Director of Marketing.
Ooh, fancy. Oh, you fancy. Oh, you fancy. Oh, you put it in quotes now, girl. You put it in quotes?
Director. To my right here is Fiona Mills, our franchise ramp-up coach. How are you guys?
Great.
Good.
Yeah, man.
What's new?
I got to be honest with you. I'm considering a career change based on the YouTube video that you sent me recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can make the same money as this or not, but...
Yeah, so let me tell everybody about this. So I was on my way to a mastermind group, and Sammy here is, I was watching just kind of random YouTube stuff while I was sitting in the airport, and I just came across this Vice TV episode. You know, they're always doing kind of cutting edge stuff. And there was a video that said America's top legal sex worker. And I thought, or top earning legal sex worker. So I was like, what the heck is this? So I played it and it was fascinating. So it is this woman who's only 4'8". Okay, she's tiny. She looks exactly like a gymnast.
Oh,
okay?
sure, right.
She's that build. She's petite like that. A little redhead, very well-spoken, and the interview is basically showing her working in Nevada at this ranch called Chicken Ranch, because, you know, it's legal in this certain area.
I don't like the name of that for a brothel, by the way. It's not a great... The bunny ranch I kind of get. Chicken ranch is... I don't know, man. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a euphemism for that somewhere else.
I believe so. Chicken hawks, I think, was back in the day. Used to pedophiles, right?
Yeah, exactly. So...
Chicken Ranch.
Maybe that's why she's so popular, because everyone thinks she has very childlike features. So
God, I hope that's not the case.
Yeah, this girl is earning $1 million a year. And here's the best part. The ranch takes 50%. So I think she's earning $2 million. She's walking with $1 million.
Wow.
That's a lot of tricks.
That is.
This is my 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. So the thing that was fascinating to me is how normal she was. You know, we typically think that people that choose this line of work are, you know, maybe have some daddy issues or
desperation. Sometimes.
No other means. This girl's very well-spoken. She's, you know, very kind, very sensitive. And she really thinks that she is providing, and she is, you know, a valid service. You know, again, it's a supply and demand issue.
Of course, sex work is work.
It is.
You know, I mean,
it's hard work.
Like it's interesting to me where it's like, and you know, I'm a coal miner, and that's a hard job. That's a difficult job, and you are selling your body to a certain extent between the, you know, the lung issues and your back and all that. Like I would imagine it's incredibly physically taxing. What's the difference between that and, you know, it's all work.
It is.
So this popped up as a recommended video?
No,
for you,
I was on Vice because
okay.
I think Vice.
I was going to ask what your browsing history was. I was like,
I knew where you were going with that. But no, I don't know if you've ever gone to Vice's channel on YouTube. It's fascinating. They have everything from, you know, drug issues to single moms making ends meet. And I just find their stories fascinating.
To crime scene cleaning companies?
Yeah, there you go. They've done a story on us. They cover everything. So this story in particular, I highly recommend that you guys check it out because it was fascinating. And it really, it didn't change my views. I've never had a problem with that. Sure. You know, it's a career, it's a job, but it did change the way that I viewed the girls that perform the work. Because, you know, my time in undercover prostitution, I was around tons and tons of real prostitutes. And they all seemed to have kind of the same issues. They were, you know, victims of bad violence. They were drug addicts.
Sure.
They had nowhere else to go. And this was kind of, they had to make ends meet. This girl is a complete opposite, 180. She's choosing to do this because she feels that the service that she's providing is very valid and useful. And she actually cares about her clients. And it's not all sex, which was another thing. You know, there's one guy that pays her to call him every night before he goes to bed.
Some people just, we need human connections. We're human beings.
Yes.
We're social creatures.
Yes.
And if you're not getting it, if that's not happening, you know, you crave it. So,
yeah.
you know, that's good for her and good for him too.
Yeah. But I think she took a hit during COVID.
Oh, I would imagine.
All the ranches were down. And
yeah, I can't imagine that that's essential work necessarily.
Yeah, and they're apparently getting tested constantly and heavily regulated, which is great again because it protects both parties.
Yeah, and I would imagine that regulation can also cut back on the sex trafficking as well.
Yeah,
if you can take, it probably will never eliminate it, sadly, but if you can take it out of the shadows, if you can make it regulated. And you have... It's
safer then.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then it's not street stuff. And, we've talked about a ton of serial killers that prey on sex workers. And they're doing it because they're essentially low-hanging fruit. Mm-hmm. But you can't really prey on them if they're at a ranch.
Exactly.
They're being protected. Everything. There's cameras everywhere. Yeah. Like, nothing is happening there that the staff doesn't know about. But, I thought it was kind of... a crime that the ranch was taking 50%. That's a lot.
That seems
to
like
me.
a lot.
That seems number like a lot. Is outrageous, man.
It's
50%.
Outrageous.
Yeah.
And all they're really supplying is a house with a lot of rooms and furniture and a website.
Yeah. I would
what else are they doing?
I would imagine maybe some of the dealing with some of the regulations. Maybe they help navigate the legal waters, but still, that's a lot.
I think it's substantial.
You only take 30% of our paycheck, which I think is generous of you.
Yeah, exactly. I think it is as well. So when I buy a ranch, you only have to pay 25% of your salary.
So you're gonna have a pit. You're gonna have a ranch. I love it. I love this budding empire of yours.
Yes. Yeah. These are all just such great ideas.
Can't miss.
But you can only do it in this one particular county or city area in Nevada, which I'm kind of surprised why it hasn't caught on and gone to other areas.
Right. Like we see marijuana expanding
that's
exponentially,
going everywhere.
Which is awesome. Yeah. But we don't see that with prostitution. It's very interesting.
And I wonder why.
I think it's still too much of a social stigma. I think the cannabis industry is totally different now. Most people not most people use cannabis. Most people are okay with the legalization of cannabis. Right. We're talking about a plant. We're talking about a product.
Yeah.
I think there's still a lot of concerns because we are talking about human beings. We're talking about, even though sex work is valid work and these people are choosing to do it, there's nothing wrong with it. I think there's still a puritanical strain in our country that's like, no, that's just not right.
Well, we live in the South, too. So,
very true.
Like, you can't even buy alcohol till 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So, it's just like archaic laws in the South here that, prohibit these things just to, I guess, appease some leftover, vestiges of that.
Right. And I do think, though, that the attitude towards it is shifting.
Yeah.
And I hope hopefully it'll continue to do so. Like we see how massive OnlyFans is, which isn't prostitution, but it's still sex work. Mm-hmm. There's still, that's still what's happening there. And more people are doing that and more people are making money at it. So, hopefully over time, because, the concern for me with prostitution has always been, are women being taken against their will or women being coerced into this? So if you can eliminate that through proper regulation, through legalization, then I'm all for it.
Oh, I agree. I agree. Yeah, and I think the legalization of it would stop a lot of that.
Yeah.
Because then there wouldn't be such
I don't
scrutiny.
know. I can't imagine that pot dealers in legalized marijuana states are thrilled right now or thriving right now. There probably are still a couple, but they're like,
well, it's probably lowering the prices, though.
Yeah, for sure. So, I think that, that's the way to go for it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Awesome. Well, today I've got a sick for everyone. Have you heard of the pig farm?
I've only heard broad strokes of it.
Okay.
I don't know all the details. I am familiar a little bit with it. I saw a couple fans have recommended it. I haven't seen the movie yet, no.
Okay.
I've just heard a little bit about it.
What about you?
I've heard a little bit. I have not seen the movie. I want to.
Okay. It's, for my research on this, I did watch the documentary of it, and it's on, you can get it like through Amazon Prime or something like that. And I found many things in the documentary that I didn't find in my other research. For example, the interviews with the women that were living on the pig farm. So, and one of them, in my opinion, should get the death penalty too. And it's because she knew about it and she did nothing. She needs to go into the pit.
But she's in jail, right?
Nope.
No?
Ooh. So let me tell you, there was a lot of mishaps again. And this is definitely, a big black mark on Canada. Again, we're back to Canada. There was a lot of police missteps and just kind of giant f***ups that let this guy go for a long, long time. So We're talking about Robert Pickton. They call him Willy. And when I see that name, I just think Slick Willy. And I think Bill Clinton.
Sure.
I do.
Sure, yeah.
I just think Bill Clinton. You know, I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
I mean, come on, dude.
I know. Slick Willy.
What is a blowjob? Is
Yeah.
a blowjob sexual relations?
I
Come
don't
on,
think
man.
that is sexual relations.
Yeah.
You know, but Slick Willy here has a 5-finger forehead. So
I will say this. I have seen a picture of Robert Pickton.
Yeah.
And he looks like he's out of a Rob Zombie movie. He is frightening looking.
Okay, so get this, what he reminded me of the first time I saw him. Have you guys seen the movie Deliverance?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you know the guy that looks just like him when they're going down the river and he smiles and he has like the meth teeth?
Yeah.
And he's like,
yeah, absolutely.
you know, he's doing that whole thing. Oh my God, he looks just like him. You know, kind of that up haircut, dirty,
stringy hair.
Yeah,
for sure.
There's some inbreeding going on there.
It looks
definitely.
like it.
Like he looks like he lives in the backwoods.
Yes.
Type deal,
Exactly.
like born and raised.
And that guy in Deliverance obviously did. This guy lived in the backwoods of Canada, near BC. It's called Port Coquitlam. I know I'm hacking that up.
Yeah.
But it's about 17 miles east of Vancouver.
Okay.
So, you know,
He's out there.
it's a suburb. Yeah, he's out there. So he grew up into this farm. Okay, so his parents ran the pig farm. He has a brother and a sister. Parents died and left them the farm. The brother's like, I don't want anything to do with it. They sent the sister away in advance because they didn't think it was an environment for a lady.
Oh, okay, but it was okay for the mother, but not for the...
Well, yeah, she didn't do anything with the farm.
Okay.
She just lived in the home.
Okay.
So they have, you know, several acres there, and it wasn't a huge farm, right? So he takes it upon himself to continue kind of the family tradition with this pig farm, okay? Well, he originally goes to school, I don't know if it's trade school or whatever, to learn how to slaughter animals, right? And he's doing that for, you know,
butcher
markets and
stuff. Yeah, that
butchers.
makes sense. Yeah.
Just butcher stuff. So he takes that and he brings it over to use it on his own farm. So he had a nickname of Stinky Piggy. And, you know, they've always mentioned that he was always wearing those high top rubber boots like our techs wear when they're doing a cleanup.
Okay, yeah.
Because he's literally...
Like Wellingtons, or is that what they're called?
in the midst of it.
What are they called?
I
rubber
call them
boots
Wellingtons.
Oh, are
Yeah.
they called Wellingtons? Okay.
Rubber boots, but
Rubber boots.
Yeah.
So, because he's literally walking through pig blood, body parts, and the whole bit, right? So he's always wearing these boots, and he always has this horrible body odor, right? The guy never bathes, nothing. So he has a strong affinity towards sex workers, right? That's probably the only way he can get laid, is to have to pay for it. So
Yeah, when you're Stinky Piggy.
yeah. So he was super attached to the mom, but he said his dad was very abusive. So when his mom died, he didn't take it very well.
Right.
Yeah. And so that wasn't, you know, good. But he also, in his teens, he had a calf, and he kept it as his pet and just loved this calf,
Oh,
right?
no.
So one
Oh,
day he
no.
came home from school and he couldn't find his calf. And his mom said, check the barn. And he walked in the barn and found it slaughtered.
Like, the good relationship that he has is with the mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when the good relationship one is like, surprise, we murdered your pet. It's like, oh, that's not good, man. Not when you're the good one.
Yeah, no doubt. So he didn't take that very, very well. He dropped out of school in 1963 at the age of 14, 1963. Wow. And that's when he kind of became the butcher's apprentice, essentially. So this was before his mom died and his dad died. So he started to have people come stay at the pig farm, employees, and these were paid people. But he always kind of was drawn to people that were women that had severe drug addictions. Okay, they were sex workers and had severe drug addictions. So the guys that he had there were either, you know, kind of mentally not there or what, but he had them working on the farm. And they also, when they work on the farm, they live on the farm.
Okay.
Okay, so this is an
he's got quite a
important
menagerie of people going there.
This
huh?
is
Okay.
important.
He's building his fiefdom. He's building his little kingdom.
Yes.
Ooh.
So one of the guys,
Stinky Piggy got a kingdom.
Bill, that lived on the farm, said, you know, that the place was creepy looking. Okay. But I mean, how would you not think any type of slaughterhouse is creepy.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
I don't think that's, yeah.
So Pickton was described as kind of really quiet, reserved, introverted, kind of your typical guy that's hiding something. Never drank, did drugs, nothing like that. Okay, so it was weird that he's drawn towards these people to employ that are addicted to stuff.
Right. Again, and we see this time and time again, right? And the assumption, an assumption being made here on my part, probably easier to manipulate those people. Mm-hmm. They need money. I can control them. I don't know if he's buying them drugs or not, but you can control somebody that's
exactly
dependent on something, right?
Yep, that's exactly what happened. So he's thinking, hey, low-hanging fruit here. I can control them. So when I was watching the documentary, the one main girl, and I can't remember her name, was probably the longest female worker there that was staying there. And she admitted she had, I think she said $100 a day crack addiction. And
seems like a lot.
Yeah. So the
prices,
rocks are $10 a piece. So that would be 10 rocks.
Yeah.
So back then it was probably cheaper. So she said that when he offered her that job, he picked her up on the side of the road type thing, offered her that job. She was like, oh my God, I'm getting paid all this money to basically send faxes and answer phones. So she said she used the money, because the housing was free, to buy more drugs. So her $100 a day went up to $1,000 a day.
Ooh,
that's quite the jump.
That is a big jump.
So she was basically felt like she was living high on the hog. And
you're a drug addict. It's like, low pressure job, and I can do all the crack I want.
Exactly. So where she takes a big part in it is that he would bring prostitutes, sex workers home all the time, and she was in her room, he was in his room, and she's saying, I didn't really pay any attention to anything. Well, he started to involve her and say, come with me into the city, because he'd have to drive into Vancouver because they're out in the sticks.
Right.
So he would typically go in this, Skid Row area where all the sex workers hung out, and he was using this friend/employee to bait these women.
I'm safe. There's a woman with me.
There's a woman
I'm not
with
by
me.
myself.
Yep.
I'm not a threat.
Exactly. So he brought one of those women home, and they were all like doing drugs and all this.
But he's not.
No.
But he's not.
He's giving it to them. He's not. So he's basically setting her up.
I wouldn't want to be around people that are on crack. If I'm not on crack, I've never been on crack, but I'm just assuming like being around people on crack would be
but unless
miserable.
You have ulterior motives,
no, that's
like
true.
You need them under the influence of something, right?
I'm thinking about parties I want to be at. I'm not thinking about parties that this guy wants to be at. So
the night rolls on, right? The two girls are drinking, smoking crack, the whole thing. He takes the sex worker into his room. She goes into her room, and she said she just an hour or two later couldn't fall asleep. So she gets up.
$1,000 worth of crack.
Yeah, exactly. Right, $1,000.
I have a cup of coffee after 5 o'clock. I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah. So she's walking through the house, right, and she looks at his bedroom and opens the door, and there's no one there, and she's like, oh, that's weird. I wonder if he left. So she just walks outside, just wandering around. Sure. And she sees a light on in the barn. And so she just walks over to the barn and opens it up, and the chick's hanging by a freaking meat hook. And he had sliced her and drained her.
Oh, just like an animal.
He treated her exactly like the pigs that he was slaughtering. But it gets better here. So she's like, what the f***? Presumably still under the influence, right?
Yeah.
So he says, don't tell. She's like, She uses it as ammo to blackmail him for more drugs. She never tells. So this is why I think that she needs to be in the pit.
Yeah, she should be in the pit for sure.
Yeah, and she never gets charged.
She never gets charged?
So I'll tell you, it goes even further. So she's well aware, of course, of what happens, right?
Yeah, now she is, for sure.
So one of the girls he gets in an altercation with, and the girl stabs him. He stabs the girl multiple times, this Wendy chick in 1997, but she gets away for some way. So here's the effed up thing about it, is that they're both stabbed. She goes to a hospital. Doesn't this pig farm dude end up at the same hospital?
No.
You got it. So the chick comes in with handcuffs on and stabbed.
Right.
He comes in, stabbed. They search his pockets. The key to the handcuffs is in his pocket.
Get out of here.
You think that'd be enough to charge him?
That should be enough.
Like, that's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
Nope. The key matched. So that's the effed up thing is they were going to charge him, and the prosecutor said, yeah, I don't think we can charge him because she's a prostitute and a drug addict. No one's going to believe her. And they let him go.
Unreliable witness.
Unreliable witness.
How heartbreaking that must be for that woman in that moment where it's like, okay, I've gone through all this. I've been stabbed. Oh my God. I'm at the hospital. I'm safe.
You got it.
Oh my God, this guy's here. Now he's going to go to jail too. And then you find out, nah, you're not worth it. We can't trust you. What?
Yeah. Yeah. It's got to be just heartbreaking
You'd lose all
because
hope.
at that point, it could have stopped all these killings.
Right.
But it didn't because they view them as an unreliable witness. It's the same thing nowadays.
Yeah.
They will still just not give them any credibility, which is really disheartening. So over the course of 3 years, the guy Bill, who's still working at the farm there, notices that the women that are visiting the farm are going missing. Okay. Now, mind you, the sex worker that's living there, the crackhead, she's not talking. Okay. She's blackmailing him. Like every time she needs more drugs, he's getting it for her because it's shutting her mouth up.
Boy, that's dangerous, man. I'd be worried the guy would kill me.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not a crackhead. So.
That's why not just kill her?
Yeah.
Shut it down.
That's what I wondered the entire time.
Well, she is helping him get these women too, right?
Well, she just did. To my knowledge, she just did it once.
Okay.
But she did overlook, like when he was in the barn, she ran decoy.
Yeah.
And
she's an accomplice, man.
Yeah, she's an accomplice, absolutely.
So maybe he liked having that accomplice.
So what he was doing was he would put them up on this meat hook and slice them, drain the blood, and then cut them into pieces and either A, feed them to the pigs, or B, bury them. But he did a couple of weird things. In some of the girls' body parts he kept in freezers, in a freezer. We don't know why some were kept and some weren't, but that eventually was his downfall. So when he got caught, apparently it was the most expensive investigation in Canadian history. I think they said it was over $3 million. They had to excavate the entire farm to find the body parts to match them.
Oh, right. Of course.
And then they found the DNA off the boots, off of several things. They found clothing in his room that matches some of the missing girls. So one of the cool things that they actually did correctly was initially when he was arrested, he wasn't talking. So they put an undercover cop in there, in jail with him.
Smart.
And I read the transcripts, word for word. Okay, they're lengthy. It's 40-some pages long. And basically this undercover cop was just like, befriending him. And they talked extensively about, what are you in for? What am I in for? That type of thing. And he eventually confesses to 49 women that he murdered and said they got me before I got my 50th. I wanted to go out with 50. And he goes, I just got sloppy. That's what he said. And they used, obviously, that transcript to seal the deal. Now, the up thing, of course, is, and I don't know how Canadian courts are different than ours, but so it goes to trial, right? And it initially goes to trial with, 6 counts of murder, even though, because they were trying to find the body parts.
Sure.
So they ended up finding in 2005, 12 more charges were given to him for the total number of first-degree murder charges to 27.
Wow.
So 27 out of 49. So there's presumably the pigs ate the rest of them, right? And they just couldn't find it.
Yeah, I would imagine with even though you said it's only a couple acres, but it's still a farm. Between feeding them to the pigs, which is now a nice fun wrinkle here, it would be. I imagine it would be impossible to find all 49.
Yeah, and it was. They never found all 49. But the another part of the whole story was that, he's slaughtering all these pigs and selling it to his vendors or the public. Some of the stuff was human.
Yeah, I read that he had mixed it. So just like picturing like you buying right from your local market, and it's like half human, half pig.
I mean, you're
Talk
sitting
about a recall.
Yeah, you're sitting at home, right? You're sitting at home. You're watching the news. Pickton Farms. This guy and the sausages in there may have been human. Honey, what sausage did you buy last week?
Exactly.
I mean, my God.
Exactly. Can you imagine how disgusting? So actually, Canada issued a public notice of if you bought meat from this guy, you might want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Because part of it's human. So the excavation. They brought in forensic anthropologists, and they literally had to dig down 2 50-foot flat conveyor belts, and they sifted through everything to pull out bones, body parts, and they said this investigation lasted a long time.
Yeah, because they got to go through the pigsties, right? They got to go through all that stuff. They got to through everything in the barn. They got to go through all the mud. Oh my God.
So, one of the things that was in the documentary too was that the girl that escaped, she knew it was him, right? So they had evidence on it. So when all these girls are disappearing, Canada is essentially going through their list of sex offenders and trying to narrow it down. Well, apparently there was hundreds, and they couldn't pinpoint who it was. Well, when this happened, they started surveillance on him. They couldn't get him doing anything. They said the guy rarely left the house. So they couldn't get him doing anything. So they tried to interview people that were coming off the farm. Well, of course, the crackhead wasn't speaking. So they couldn't find anything. Like, they just were not. So They brought him in for questioning and not under arrest. And he was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about. He just pled. So this went on for a couple of years, and they couldn't find anything to nail him. Because he was disposing of all of the evidence, and they couldn't get a search warrant to do it. So how frustrating.
I can't imagine. Because that there are people in the police department that I know something's going on there.
Yeah.
To not be able to execute it and go out there. Ugh.
So the reason that they started surveilling him is because in 98, they got an anonymous call with a tip saying, you guys need to look at him. So I'm thinking it was Bill, because Bill was... talked afterwards. It wasn't the girl. Bill was talking afterwards. So they brought the crackhead girl in, and she denied everything. She wouldn't rat him out for nothing. So, God.
And she's still free.
They say don't trust a drug addict, but Jesus, she took his story to the grave until the documentary, of course. So
until she got more drug money.
Right, exactly. Until somebody else paid her.
Okay, so the tip also included information that Pickton had a freezer full of human flesh on the farm. Of course, they interviewed him, and he denied it. But police didn't conduct a search at that time. They said they couldn't get enough to get a search warrant.
So this tip isn't enough? And
the tip was anonymous. That's why. If it was you or I walking in and saying, this guy's got humans in there.
I'll put my name on it.
There you go. They couldn't get enough for a search warrant. So... that was 99. He wasn't on trial until 2006.
Ooh,
so that's how much time passed by. This jackhole actually pleaded not guilty to 27 charges of first-degree murder, which I find ridiculous when you are on tape with an undercover cop admitting to all of them.
Right.
And saying literally, I wish it would have been 50. I was trying to get to 50.
It just doesn't add up.
No.
But
you can plead not guilty for anything.
Yeah. What else am I going to do? I'll give it a shot. Let's go with not guilty. Let's see what else. If I plead guilty, I was going right to jail. I might as well do something. So they allowed media in the trial, which I would love to see the media footage on this. But so all Canadians were able to hear the gory details of the story. They found out that skulls cut in half with hands and feet stuffed inside of them. Oh, that's weird.
The remains of one victim was found stuffed in a garbage bag, and her blood-stained clothing was found in his trailer. And part of another victim's jawbone and teeth were found inside Pickton's slaughterhouse. And here, ready for this? They found a .22 caliber revolver with a dildo attached to it, containing both his and a victim's DNA. In a videotape recording played for the jury, Pickton claimed to have attached the dildo to his weapon as a makeshift silencer.
This guy, what I mean?
What the?
I know you in the backwoods, but damn.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder. Like, it boggles the mind, right? Because it's like,
but the dildo had his DNA on it too.
Yep.
Because
would you fire a bullet through the dildo? That's what he's saying, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I know that obviously a bullet's stronger than a dildo. I'm not a total dummy, but I can't imagine. I imagine it would have to affect the accuracy.
Well, not only that, why would that have anything to do with silencing it?
You're on a farm in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
I wonder if he was using that as penetrative sex, like it's some.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Immediately when I heard that, that's exactly what I thought. And the threat was, don't move or it's going to go off.
I'll pull the trigger.
Right, exactly. So during the trial in 2007 now, there's lab staff identified 80 unidentified DNA profiles, another 80, roughly half male and half female.
Whoa.
Which is a little confusing because all his victims were female.
But couldn't this have been just visitors to, like, when we're saying they're finding this DNA, could have just been people that are visiting the farm, right? Or they're just saying...
Well, it's unidentified DNA profiles, so I'm assuming they found teeth, jaw, skin...
Okay.
Something.
And it's unidentified, so it couldn't be. It was people they couldn't rule out, like, right? So if it was
no,
identified,
I think it's
like,
victims, right? Testified that 80 unidentified DNA profiles have been detected on the evidence.
So people unaccounted for.
They're suspected. One of the people in the documentary suspects that he wasn't doing this alone. That he had help.
It was probably the girl.
It might have been.
Yeah.
So inside his trailer, of course, they found the dildo with the revolver over the barrel.
I want to know who used a dildo on him.
Dildo Revolver was the name of my band in high school.
Gross. .357 Magnum with ammunition. Night vision goggles. Yeah.
He's out there hunting.
You ready for this? 2 pairs of faux fur lined handcuffs because the real ones are just too hardcore.
Yeah.
A syringe of 3 milliliters of blue liquid inside called the Spanish fly. And I didn't know what that was, so I had to look up the Spanish fly. Okay, get this. It's an emerald green beetle in the blister beetle family. The insect is a source of a toxic blistering agent once used as an aphrodisiac.
So the Spanish, I've heard of Spanish fly before.
Not.
But I didn't know it was named after an actual fly.
Yeah, it's a
beetle.
It
used to be like a thing that you would buy, like, you know.
What is it?
I'm going to slip Spanish fly into somebody's drink and they're going to get all horny.
But how can a toxic blistering agent be an aphrodisiac?
Oh, I don't know.
When I see toxic, I think acid.
Yeah, why do people think oysters are an aphrodisiac? It's crazy.
I disagree with that too.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah.
But I think, like, Bill Cosby had a bit about Spanish fly. Yeah, Spanish fly was a thing. Like, you know, you go to the store sometimes, like, you're see.
You're so excited about it.
I know.
I'm not excited about it. I'm just chiming in, Fiona. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Well, like, you go to, like, the gas station now. Every once in a while, you see, like, these sex supplements. They sell, like, horny goat weed and all that other stuff. But it was that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know? Come on, get your lady in the mood. Slip her a little Spanish fly. That's not creepy.
Yeah. So that was the first time I've heard of that.
Injectable Spanish fly.
Yeah.
Though.
It was, they found 3 milliliters in the syringe. So in the way that he lived, like I saw the, and it was probably a representation of it, but the way he lived in that trailer, I mean, it was disgusting. But crackheads, they don't care where they live. They don't care what they do or say.
No, but he's not a crackhead.
No, but he's gross.
Yes, he's disgusting.
Yeah. He didn't bathe. Like, he was just nasty. Stinky pig. A videotape of one of his friends, Scott, said Pickton told him a good way to kill a female heroin addict is to inject her with windshield washer fluid.
Just casual conversation?
Yep.
Something you mentioned over brunch.
Fun
How's
fact
the burger? Pretty good? Yeah. Oh, I was thinking about something the other day. That means you've tried other stuff by the way, too, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I got it, you know.
Yeah, let's try this. Let's try Drano. Let's try, all this kind of stuff.
Keep this information in your back pocket in case you ever need it.
Another friend of his, Andrew, said Pickton mentioned killing sex workers by handcuffing and strangling them, then bleeding and gutting them before feeding them to the pigs.
I mean, feeding them to the pigs is the way to do it.
But, I'm stupid, of course. I've never been on a farm before. I thought pigs were vegetarians. Do they eat meat?
I think the thing with pigs is that they'll eat anything, right?
Yeah, I feel like...
they're omnivores, I believe.
Oh,
yeah, but I think you don't feed them for like a day or two, and then when you feed them, they just like they all eat the bones and everything.
A Guy Ritchie movie explained that to me one time. I don't remember if it was Snatch or not, but they were feeding humans to pigs.
That's disgusting. Disgusting. And pigs are actually very smart.
They are. Yeah, they're incredibly
really,
smart. They're cute as hell, too, man. Pigs are awesome.
Yeah, they are. They're really cute. So they also found a garbage bag in his slaughterhouse, which held the remains of one of the victims, Mona Wilson.
Like, why hold on to it?
Yeah.
He was cutting up everything using the same tools that he used for the pigs, mixing it in there. So it goes to trial, of course, right? And media's allowed in. And one thing that I found interesting about the trial was that a juror was accused of having made up her mind already that Pickton was absolutely innocent.
How do you make your mind up for that?
What? I thought you were going to say absolutely guilty for sure, whereas like that's a problem. Like,
no.
You know, like, but I
so
was like,
here's where it gets worse.
This guy, Stinky Piggy, the guy in the Wellingtons, the guy that has terrible body odor.
Right.
No, he's innocent.
He's totally innocent.
Not that body odor indicates you're a serial killer. Hold your comments.
Yeah. So the police f***ed up. Well, here's where the judge f***ed up, right? So the trial judge questions the juror and says, hey, it's been reported to me that you said that Mr. Pickton was innocent. That there was no way that he could have done this and that the court system arrested the wrong guy. Is this true? The juror denied it.
What?
Okay. So the judge said, oh, okay, no problem. And left her on the jury.
What? Okay, well then why? Like, who's reporting this? Why was it reported? What
another
did you say?
Juror,
Who did you talk to?
Another juror, but because she didn't admit it, they're saying they have no proof. It's he said, she said.
Well, why not just take them off and put somebody else in? Don't we have alternates?
Apparently they're slim pickings.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So the trial went on for a long time with a lot of, back and forth and, all this. So they were only able to they read 18 victim impact statements, but they were only able to charge him with, I think, 6 of the murders or 12 of the murders. So he ends up getting life in prison. I don't think there's a death penalty in Canada. I'm not sure.
That's probably right. Yeah.
So, he didn't even get everything that they had the actual DNA in the bodies for. So, and this mofo appeals it.
What? On what grounds?
His grounds were related to a number of evidentiary rulings made by the trial judge, certain aspects of the trial judge jury instructions, and the ruling to sever the 6 charges Pickton was tried on for the remaining 20. So Pickton was acquitted on first-degree murder charges. He was convicted of second-degree murder charges, but he received the same sentence he would have on the first-degree murder charges.
So the technicality happened. Got to toss it, but they just keep him in. What a waste of everybody's time.
That's what they said. And they criticized the attorney general for not having, his ducks in a row.
Yeah.
The families are pissed off. Again, we're seeing more families pissed off here. So, he's in jail and he's 72 years old right now. And he's still alive.
Really?
Yeah. And there was a recent news story that said a couple people in his pod or jail cell or area, whatever, have gotten COVID. And that's the only reason that it was kind of in the news.
Okay.
They didn't identify him as having COVID, but he's still in jail, 72 years old or whatever.
Good. That's where he should stay.
Yeah.
Should be it.
Again, Canada's paying to feed this monster.
I wonder how many degrees he has now.
Yeah. He's probably got a PhD by this point.
My brain cannot get around the severity of this crime, how massive it was. And was there ever a final number established? Like, did he ever admit to?
Well, he admitted to 49.
Right.
But he admitted it to the undercover detective.
Right.
So on trial, he denied everything. Of course, he denied everything. No one else was ever implicated into helping him.
I do not understand how this woman, the crackhead, was not arrested and thrown in jail. I would be disappointed if you're like, and she only got 10 years. I'd be like, that's outrageous, 10 years.
Yeah.
But the fact that she never spent a day in jail over this is unbelievable.
But she admitted that she blackmailed him.
Yep.
And she's still free. I don't understand that.
Yeah, and she held her tongue for many, many years, and she's on this documentary, and she's not really holding anything back. You can tell at this point she didn't give a she didn't care. She's just admitting like, hey, I had a really bad crack fix and I blackmailed him. No, it doesn't. But she still looks like she could be a crackhead. And then there's another woman on the video who is very peculiar looking. She has a complete front grill. I think it's either silver or gold, covered in tattoos. And she's literally on there defending him. Pickton. I was friends with him. There's no way he did this. I'm like, are you f***ing kidding me right now?
They found...
I know. And the girl admitted it, the other one.
Yeah.
So she finally did testify against him after everything was said and done. And she didn't get it. I'm assuming there was a deal made. I didn't see anything about it, though.
Yeah, that had to have been the case. They had to have been stumped. There had to have been some issue, and they were like,
"Yep.
Well, her testimony will give us one more arrow in getting him." But you can't get away from what you did as well. That's too big of a thing.
I mean, everything about him is stereotypical. The truck that he drove, the way he looks,
right.
The smell. I mean, just, he's a slaughter guy. The fact that he always went to the same area to pick up sex workers. They
must have known too. Sex workers in the area must have known at least that people are disappearing.
Well, they knew that that was reported that the girls were disappearing. But that's when they were like trying to find, do we have a serial killer here? Right. Is this just... And
again, sex workers, it becomes, they're transient. They move around a lot. Who knows?
And then they said that, when they started to kind of narrow things down, they found over 100 like sex crimes that had occurred by over 100 different guys. So they were like, we can't possibly watch all these guys.
Yeah.
So until that tip came in, and then they couldn't get a warrant after that.
I just don't get how the handcuffs in the emergency room didn't just stop.
It should have, but they didn't believe her because of her history.
Yeah.
Like, what are the chances there's another guy with the key to your handcuffs?
And you've both been stabbed in the same hospital.
Right. Yeah. Well, all handcuff keys are universal. So it's not necessarily...
But what is the coincidence?
I'm with you. I just want, before somebody yells at you in the comments, I'm here for you, Fiona.
I'm trying to get good points.
But I highly recommend that you guys watch it. But, another weird thing that I found out is, I don't know if you guys know this, there's a rule that says if you are a convicted felon or inmate or whatever it is, that you cannot write a book and make money on it.
Yeah, I did know that. I think that's, at least in the States, I think that's directly related to the Son of Sam.
Oh, is it?
I believe. But okay. I know that there's a Son of Sam law where it's like you cannot directly financially benefit from your crimes. Right,
from your crimes.
Which obviously wouldn't be the same law in Canada because it's a different country. I know things.
Okay, so Pickton allegedly hand-wrote his own book and smuggled it out and to one of his friends, and one of his friends mailed it to, I guess, an author.
Okay.
The author sees this and was like, is this really Pickton? Yeah, it is. So he sends it to a publisher and it gets published. So there's actually a book out.
So who gets the profit from that?
That's the author. Yeah. So it says Pickton in his own words by Michael Childress.
What a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make all the money. I'll make all the money off this book. This guy wrote it, but I'll put my name on it.
Yeah. So apparently there was a big uproar about it, and
should be.
They tried to block Amazon from selling it, and for criminals and stuff like that. But Amazon's thing was, listen, it's being written by this Michael guy.
He's not profiting from it. He's not making any money from it. So I guess technically it wouldn't be that. It's not that different from the author going in and interviewing him and then transcribing the interview.
Exactly. So I have not read that book, but I considering the fact that he still trying to claim his innocence, I wouldn't think that there would be anything
that's a good point.
Decent in there.
Yeah.
But they're calling it a memoir.
Another woman I didn't murder.
Yeah. He said, but if I did,
if
like
I did
OJ,
it.
right?
Oh,
if I did it, this is how I would have done it.
The hubris of that moment.
Oh, my God.
If I had done it. Come on, OJ.
I mean, Jesus Christ, OJ. You've already put, 2 people in the grave, and now you're going to try to make money off of if I did it.
If I wink. This is how I would have done it. Gross.
Yeah. And I heard he's back in Florida again, of course.
Oh, this is where they all went.
Yeah, South Florida. Yeah. Exactly. So Anyway, this was a extremely disgusting case and one that I would love to see him in the pit. Even at 70 years old, I would have
let
fun.
him get in the pit.
I would love him to be in the pit.
Yeah, absolutely. Let him get in the pit with some pigs.
Yes.
Some really hungry pigs.
Let the pigs eat him alive.
Yes. Yeah, you slowly lower him into the pit.
Yes.
They start at the feet, move their way up, and then at the end of viewing time, you put the tourniquets back on, and then we lower him, raise him back up, and then slowly just over time.
I like it.
You've got it all planned out now.
For certain people, I'm warming up to the pit.
See? I'm telling you, it's revolutionary.
Yeah, you got a whole army defending you on it.
And so. I can, look at, I don't want to compare this to Saudi Arabia. That's a whole different thing. But look at how low their crime is, because if you steal something, your arms are going to get chopped off. So that's kind of a big red flag not to steal anything, right? You come here and you steal something, nothing happens. So that's why we have issues.
Well, if
you know you're going to the pit, you're not going to do bad shit.
That rhymes too.
We could talk about the effects of poverty on people and crime rates, but or we could just chop hands off. That's another.
No, I don't agree with that. That's not what I'm saying
at
all. I'm just saying that in America, they know there's no repercussion.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
It's just a slap on the wrist.
Yeah,
no matter what you do. You kill a child. You could steal a candy bar. You'll get the same punishment.
It feels that way sometimes.
Yeah,
for sure.
It really does. So I think if people knew that, 3 strikes, you're going to the pit.
3 strikes in the pit.
And I get to decide how you're going to defend yourself or not.
Are you going to be a benevolent dictator?
I'm not going to be a dictator. I'm going to serve justice for all the victims out there that are not getting justice.
You've always been an amazing marketer, man. I got to tell you. Are you going to be a dictator? Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
I would never be a dictator. What I'll be is the righteous arm of justice for all those.
I am the righteous arm of justice. I'm telling you, if you like Spartacus and you like Squid Games, this is the future of the criminal justice system.
It might be.
At least it should be.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
all right. Well, anyway, I had fun with this one. He's a disgusting
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. You guys know anything different or more about the story that I forgot, please mention in the comments below. But thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok @Crime Scene Cleaning. Have a great day.